Hi, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to another episode of Fox Talks. I'm joined by Chris Fowlie from Fowlie Paving. Chris, great to have you with us tonight. How are you doing?
Excellent, Brian. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You've been in business for a long time in Wakefield. When did you start?
Actually, I've been in business. This is our first full year. Been in the business for over 30 years, I guess. Good and bad at this point, showing my age. But no, we've worked pretty much locally for the best part of my career. So, and we've been in Wakefield for almost 20 years now, living here, and the company's based here. We run out of Wakefield. We try to keep everything with our local people in Wakefield.
I know that you pulled an award-winning float in the 4th of July parade a couple of years ago. So thank you for helping us out with that. That's always good to have those people with, trailers and trucks that are willing to, take the day and do that for us.
It was a good time. My youngest son, Jack, and I, we were more than happy to help out. And we were asked to come around again this year, but unfortunately,
there he is.
My co-pilot is there.
Hello.
We were asked again. It's unfortunate due to circumstances. Unable to. It's not going to happen. We would have been there. Once again. It's a good time.
Yeah, we're going to do the 75th Parade Part 2 next year. So we'll just. I'm sure you'll get a call again from Coldwell Banker to help out next year.
Absolutely, I'm sure.
Businesses are always willing to help out, so thank you for that. So how did you get into paving?
So, spring of 1993, I get out of North Adams State College, which is now MCLA.
Yeah. I went there for a tour, and the drive was like, it's not going to work. But good for you.
It was far enough away from my family, but still in-state tuition, so it all worked out.
There you go.
Got out of North Adams and had a soc degree, which, I guess not exactly basket weaving, but wasn't sure what I was going to do. So I was landscaping for a friend, and I was substitute teaching, and I knew both of them it wasn't what I wanted to do. And a good friend of my dad's was over the house. Friends with Bob Rotundi, DNR Paving. Went up, knocked on his front door. He kind of laughed. I guess it's a walk-on greenhorn thing that, you've never paved before. Son, why don't you go back to cutting grass because you don't know what you're getting yourself into. And he was right. But it was good. He, nothing at the time. I'll call you in a week, and I never thought anything would come of it. And I ended up out on a highway paving crew. I thought I was going to die my first week, but it was pretty cool. And there's been some ups and downs with it, but yeah, it's what I know. It's what I do. It's pretty cool. It's not even the direction I thought I'd ever be in. Right.
So what did you want to do with a sociology degree? What was your plan? Did you have a plan?
Well, yeah, right. So we did have a plan. I mean, I had been taking civil service tests. My father my father retired as a lieutenant from Melrose Police, and it was one of those things at the time. I think I was 5 years on the Melrose fire list at like number 2, and the guys coming back from Iraq, those are the guys that, rightfully so, right? Those are the guys that went, they served, they were doing their time, and they were coming back, and they were going to the top of the list. So I thought about that and just said at one point in time, this is it, right? I got into it. It was pretty cool, and you were never in the same place. You were outside, you were moving around, and you worked for 9 months, and you were off at 3. So it was good for skiing and snowmobiling, and you got your money in the summertime and go play in the winter.
So how is it working for you now? So here we are in the midst of a pandemic, which is paving season. Are you still able to get out there, or are you just kind of in limbo?
Getting out of the gate between weather and COVID was scary. I think it still is scary. There's a lot of people that are in a worse situation than we were in. Stock market takes a classic plunge. All these things go on. we still have customers that have pulled back and haven't come back. We had some nice work, Tufts University, some other places. But we managed to start creeping in, and a good friend of mine owns a very large paving and construction company, and they're busy. And we are fortunate enough to pick up some of their slack, and it's worked out, and it's brought us in a direction that we thought we wanted to go in, but never thought it was going to happen, this quick. So out of a lot of bad came some good. We're hanging in there right now.
Yeah, you're making some connections at least, so that helps out. I assume you're not doing a lot of door-to-door. I mean, you can't I assume there's not a lot of quotes because people don't want to talk to you.
Right. That proved very interesting going out. I guess being very lucky, 30 years in the paving business as to where I was in the paving business, you made a lot of friends, made a lot of connections. And our name is probably our biggest thing, our name and our quality. And it's kept us alive right now. I can honestly say that between the connections and what we've done in the last year, we're pretty blessed. It's compared to where we were in March and April, it was really scary. So it's we're working every day, and we're keeping the guys busy.
So how many guys on a crew do you have?
It depends. I mean, if we send out small prep crews, right, a couple of guys in a Bobcat, and then some of the work that we're doing for Newport Construction right now, we'll have a 7 or an 8 man crew. And it's bigger, more demanding work. So more guys. Mm-hmm. We carry, I think, 5 or 6 full-time guys right now. 5 or 6 full-time guys, and we get a couple of we have a group of part-time guys that, depending on what's going on, they rotate in and out depending on demand.
So with a project like Tufts, what are you doing for them?
Tufts is just a small parking lot that came through another customer. Our regular run-of-the-mill, driveways. Mm-hmm. You do a couple, 3 a day, go out and do different things. And then the work that we're doing with Newport Construction, they're doing the rehab on roads and driveways, parking lots, and a really big condo development in Salem. So, Salem. And that's really big. That's a big project. We've been in and out of there, I think, in and out for the last month. I think we've got almost 3 weeks of time in there. So
it's keeping you busy at a time where things are not going so great. So that's good. So when you were doing the highway paving, what was that experience like? Did it make you want to do residential or?
This is the funniest. That's a great question. Okay, and my wife's sitting next to me laughing here. Highway work is the most boring, horrible work in the world. It's the best work. It's that's where all the updates in technology, asphalt composition, all these things that they've been developing over the last 20 years. That's really the proving ground. That's the testing where it all goes down and new things are tried out. We're always on the cutting edge no matter what company I was with. You were in that bracket. You pave a rectangle every night, and it's the most boring thing in the world.
It's like, yeah, we're doing a quarter mile tonight, and it's like just a straight line, and then
10 miles.
Come back the next night, you're like, doing that again?
Sit in one lane, 35 feet a minute. You can, and I guess part of how the technology has gone, I mean, you can, once you start and you're doing something in that atmosphere, it's set up to be very predictable in its construction, so it's unpredictable. Mm-hmm. I found that I was more adept to, we would do basically, for a while, I was the guy, if you drove down the expressway and there's parts of the expressway that are falling apart all the time, and then you come in one morning and you're driving down the highway and, wow, they ground it up and they paved it all in one night. I became adept at being that guy that I went out. I was working for Brock's Industries at the time, and I was running there what they call District 6 maintenance. It's a it's Boston, right? It's Boston for DOT. So 6-7 nights a week, you could be in the Ted Williams Tunnel. You could be on the expressway. You could be moved from one to the other at a moment's notice. It made it fun. It made it fun. It made it adventurous. It's stuff that some guys didn't want to do. And I thought it was great because it wasn't boring. It wasn't conventional. And a lot of times you were trying to figure out how we were going to finish and do what you needed to do. And it's adventure. It's exciting. I can't stand boring, I guess.
Yeah, I assume you're looking at the clock the whole time. You're like, okay, so if it's night work, sun's coming up. They said we have an hour to be done. How far can we get? And
it's
all that stress of it, and then plus you've got the that risk of being on the highway at night. I mean, you do see how people drive out there. We've
happened upon some pretty interesting and disturbing things. Being on the highway at night, you see things that you don't see anyplace else.
No.
That's a fact. We've some very bizarre things. It's night. It's all sorts of things happen at night when nobody's around.
So what do you think your favorite project you've worked on is? Do you have one, or?
I want to say the Ted Williams. I want to say the Ted Williams Tunnel. It was 2015. I think it was 2015. Running that state contract. There was just some the central artery debacle issues that had come up. I mean, it's a wonder of engineering. Like many things, they're flawed. And 25 years later, through this contract, we went through and we spent 2 months in there. And the Ted Williams is we milled out concrete. Right, so normally we're milling asphalt. We milled out like 4 inches of concrete and put back a couple of different, not necessarily experimental, but they were just out of the trials. And they were special waterproofing asphalts, and it was a really great project. We were in there for a couple of months, and it was fun. It was different, and it was something probably never encounter again, just because of what it is and where it is, I guess.
My father used to work construction. He was working in the Big Dig and through all the tunnels. They were initially building them, and one day he took us down there before they built it. And you're kind of walking around, and like you can't envision what it's going to be. So you kind of got to work that finished product of it. Whereas I got to walk around a little section that was still dirt everywhere. Just kind of that, just seeing something kind of get unveiled like that. That process that goes into it all. It's
in talking, different people over the years, right? And I think that's one of the things that I'm blessed with is that I can see what that end product should look like. I always have a picture of it in my mind, no matter whether I'm doing, your driveway or a parking lot, or the Ted Williams Tunnel. Some things are going to change and some things stay the same, but you're cleaning things up. It's a very interesting process, and it's that I wanted to see the Ted Williams being able to go in there and do something like that was in my field, a once in a lifetime. It was pretty interesting.
Well, it's like a historic project to be involved with. I mean, it's something you could always talk about, that you got to walk in that tunnel. I mean, not a lot of people ever get to walk in those tunnels, never mind
close it every
paving
night.
Work.
It's an interesting, you're working in tunnels. It's a very odd atmosphere. Ventilation, safety, all these things come into effect. And like I had said before, there's some wonders of technology in that system. And they can ventilate. You feel like you're at the beach on a windy day, being in the bottom of that tunnel. And when they turn the fans up to clear the air and everything, it's a lot of interesting stuff that very few people will be able to get to see. They see the headlines of how bad it was, but there's some pretty neat stuff that they did, and people have no idea.
So do you miss doing the night work, or you just rather do the day, more residential type work?
Nights are always interesting. I enjoyed nights. I guess as I get older, I don't miss the nights. I don't miss working for other people. We opened the company. It wasn't about, I don't think it was about getting rich. You'd hope you could pay your bills, which it's questionable sometimes, but we get through it. And our problems are our problems. And sometimes when you're working for big companies, their problems become your problems, regardless of how well you've done your job or not. And it's pretty good. We get to work in our community with people that we know, and we have people that we work with that we enjoy being with every day. And we've developed something pretty good. So
You made some friends.
as much as a struggle as it's been, and that's not to complain. I think that just even after 30 years in the business, owning your own business and certain things that you just, I've had some of the best business training working for big paving companies. The amount of money that rolls through in those big projects and the accountability and through the whole step. I wouldn't trade it. And we've had some interesting times with this. This is we're over a year in, but it's good. We think we built something pretty good, and it's a lot of fun to work in your community.
Is it something your kids want to get involved in, or are they trying to stay away from it? My
youngest, Jack, he'd probably leave school tomorrow and get in a piece of equipment and go to work. But my two oldest kids, not so much. They didn't really come up in that environment per se. Like, I guess that's one of the biggest pleasures I get out of this is that when you're working for a big corporate construction company, everybody will say, hey, I'm bringing a kid to work day and all that. But in that environment, it's generally off limits, right? You work there, you're part of the state or you're part of the company. It's not like people can wander in and out or be there. A lot of rules. It's great. It's our company and we make the rules, and it's nice to be able to bring one of your kids to work and have him interact with, the crew and the equipment. And that's huge for me. It's huge. It's one of the best parts about it.
So have you been doing any of the homeschooling, or are you like, oopsie, I got to go pave today?
4:30 a.m. The alarm goes off. Coffee, breakfast, goodbye. I hope everybody has a great day, but they're sleeping. So that's
right.
Right. So no, we're active parents, and but again, being pretty lucky that we've been as busy as we've been up to now. This is our time to produce, for ourselves. The seasonal construction is a very interesting prospect. You say, okay, the weather is going to theoretically be good in between this time. Now you live in New England, so now that either does this or it does this, right? And you got to figure out how to get it done. And once September 1st comes, it's crazy right up until the snow flies, because everybody wants to get something done and closed up. So
are you trying to get to the first snowfall, or do you have like a cutoff date that you try to aim for?
Commercial work, you'll go a little bit longer because there's, people are signing waivers and people have, they're going to get occupancy permits and things like that. So most people are selling their souls for you to pave in the snow. But your neighbors and everybody, unless somebody really wants something, when it starts getting too cold to make it look good, we cut it off. You hope that's December. And we've had a couple of weird winters, would-be winters that where, you're in brutal freezing temperatures in November, and then all of a sudden, December and everything gets warmer. So we usually around December 1st, you're calling it in.
Is it one of those times you kind of regret it? Like if you have a nice warm day at the end of December, you're like, I wish I didn't call it so quick.
There's a little bit of, you keep some people on the line that need something done. What I found is, and I didn't really know anybody that I compete with per se, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess in my own thoughts of how it would be is that if you're trying to go out and do work in the rain, you're probably going to get those kind of results, right? So when it starts getting cold and crappy, and one of two things happen: you create your own liability, or you create an unhappy customer, both which we don't like. As much as you like to keep the season rolling, when it's too cold, when it's when it's 25, 30 degrees in the morning, and cold hampers everything. Yeah. We all know this. We live in the winter.
So what do you do in the wintertime? Plowing if there's snow, or
we do
commercial work, or
we
if there's snow.
If there's snow, right? There's happened to be no snow last year.
Yeah, a lot of guys had some regrets this year who were in landscaping and plan on getting some work in.
I mean, we keep some of the equipment out on the equipment goes out on rental. You do snow work, patching. Seemed to be this past winter there was none of it. Economy just little off with the weather. You put snow equipment out, and if it snows, I guess in a theory it's free money. You can't predict it. It only helps, and then we work on equipment and get ready for the next season.
Well, Chris, thanks for joining me tonight. You told me more about paving than I knew.
You wanted to know.
And hey, it's an experience. Let's put it that way. I had my driveway paved over a year ago. I'm waiting for them to come out and seal it, and that'll be the end of that. And hopefully I don't have to dig it up anytime soon. Or
we would hope so. Good investment. Wise choice sealing it after a year.
That's the goal. We'll see if they get it together.
Brian, thanks for having me on.
Thank you. It's been great to talk to you. Congratulations, your son. I know he graduated this year. I saw the banner up downtown. So congratulations to you guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
We got a freshman going to Keene State in the fall. So
there you go.
Very good kid. Very smart. Very intelligent.
Glad to hear it. Great to talk to you, and good night, Kim.
All right, Brian. I'll see you at the window.
I'll be back. I'm sorry you're there twice already.
Thanks, Brian. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.